welcome back, you guys. I'm back in with another client tutorial. Like I said, I hope you guys are subscribed and continue to watch my videos, because I'm going to continue to post videos of me trying new makeup, doing my makeup, or just client tutorials. So let's get into it. So right now I am doing my client's eyes. I've already lined the eyebrows with the Benefit eyebrow pencil in the shade 4.5, and then I just concealed it with the LA Pro Girl, and I used that in the color tan, and I just kind of brought it down to the eyelids, patted it with the airbrush powder. And now I'm just kind of going in. At first I went in with the transition colored. I used the Pat McGrath eye palette, and I used this transitional brown color. And then I also used this pink color also from the Pat McGrath, and this is the Pat McGrath Mothership Mega, and this is pretty soft pink color. And I'm just patting it in with both colors. I pat until I see the pigment. And then I just used that brown transition shade, and I kind of brought it in on the side as well to blend it in with the pink. And now I'm just moisturizing her skin. I'm using the e.l.f. fragrance free Holy Hydration Moisturizer, and then I use eye cream. The eye cream that I use is the Vitamin Enrichment from Bobbi Brown, and then you see me pat in that e.l.f. What is this, Power Grip Primer. And then I go in straight with the foundation. Of course, I let each item that I place on her face sit on her face for at least a minute apiece before I apply a new product. And then the first shade that I use the Macao Nars, and it's more like it's a little bit darker than her skin complexion, which I was okay with, because then I kind of went in the middle of her face and I used a lighter brown. And then that is the Maybelline Fit Me in 330 Toffee, and I just put that color in the center of her face. And now I'm just patting it in with my damp beauty blender. I'm just patting that foundation into her skin, and you'll just kind of see me push in that foundation until it basically blends in really well with her face. I always bring the foundation below the face. I go underneath the jawline, underneath the chin, just so it doesn't give that mask look with the foundation. So I just pat in that foundation all over her face, underneath her jaw, her chin, just so that everything blends in well. And then I use the LA Pro concealer, and then let me get the for sure name. This is Cool Tan. I use that first. This is the first concealer that I use underneath her eyes, her nose, her chin. And then I go in with the brighter shade. Let's see what shade this is. Okay, this is the L'Oreal. That's the brighter shade. You'll see me go in the inner corner. Excuse me, y'all. We would just laugh and have a good time when I was doing her makeup. It was her birthday, so we was basically just catching up. But anyway, so I go in, you'll see me go in with another shade in her inner corner, her nose, and her forehead. And I think I go a little bit underneath her nose with a brighter shade. And this is the L'Oreal color, or the L'Oreal concealer in the shade Cashew 365. This is the brighter color here. I like to let my concealer sit on the face so that it gets thicker and it has more coverage. So I apply my concealer first, and then I go in with my contour. For her, I use the contour stick from Black Opal in the shade Espresso. So I put the contour on, and then I blend out the contour, and then I go into the concealer. And by the time I'm going to get to by the time I go into the concealer, it's a perfect thickness. And with the contour, I just go above the cheekbone. I go underneath the chin to basically, underneath the jaw to basically snatch up the jaw. So I'm going underneath the jaw, the high cheekbones, and I go over the forehead. And I just basically push the contour shade with this Real Technique brush, and I just basically push it into the skin. With the cheekbones, I kind of bring it up a little bit higher to give it a nice higher lift, but I definitely push it in with that Real Technique brush. And again, I'm going over the cheekbones, the forehead, and when it comes to the forehead, I push it into the hairline. so that it blends into the hair versus it having a line of the foundation and the contour color. And here I am now blending out the concealer, so it's now nice and thick. In LA Pro, I have a lot of luxury or expensive concealer, but this concealer is still really good. So here I am, I'm using the Real Technique brush, and I like to use a brush if I want to have more of a full coverage look versus a blender, but I always go in with the beauty blender after I blend it in. But I always do the chin, underneath the nose, and then I do the edges of underneath the eyes, and then you'll see me go to the forehead and then the nose, and then I'll go into the inner corner under the eyes. I let that be the last area that I blend out, just so that it has the consistency that I want to have full coverage. And if you watch me, you know I always go back to my contour brush on the forehead. Once I blend in the concealer on the forehead, I like to go back with the concealer brush with no extra product, and I just blend the two out so there's no harsh line between the two. And I always have my clients look up towards the ceiling when I'm blending underneath the eye, and that avoids any creasing, because you don't want to set the concealer when there's any creasing. So the whole entire time I'm constantly reminding the clients to keep looking up, so that I can have a nice smooth base to set. So she was wearing pink tonight. Obviously you see the eyes, so I wanted to go in with some pink blush. I didn't want to do too much because this blush is very pigmented. So this is the Rare Beauty liquid blush, and then this is in the color Lucky. This is Lucky, and I just literally do one dot on each cheek, and you see the pigment just from one dot. So here I am, I'm going back to the concealer, and I'm basically pushing down one more time with the beauty blender, so to make sure I don't have any creases that I'm setting. So I press down with the beauty blender, and then I take my brush and I take in the Maybelline Fit Me in the shade 230. I like to use pressed powder before I go in with the setting powder because it gives a smoother base. It gives a smoother look. And I don't know what happened to my recording, but it did not record me with the setting powder. So once I set it with this pressed powder by Maybelline, I go in with the one size setting powder, loose setting powder, and I basically push in with one of those, what do you call it? These little triangle puff things. So I basically press down on the setting powder. I press it on my arm first to get rid of any loose powder, and then I go onto the face and I push it down until it basically blends into the skin, so I don't have any extra baking look. So I do underneath the eyes like that. I do on the chin, underneath the nose, and the forehead. And then you see the only place I bake on myself or clients is the nose. So I take a little extra powder and I just line it down the nose. I'm never perfect or try to be perfect with the line, because as you see right now, I'm contouring the nose, and that allows me to adjust the size of the powder that I want to leave that highlighting look on the nose. So I take my contour shade, and I use the NARS on her. This is the NAR bronzer in Laguna 4, and I'm basically taking it down from the eyebrows down to the tip of the nose. And then I went back to the one size setting loose powder and translucent, and I'm basically just going on the sides of the nose so that it gives a good highlighting on the side of the nose, and it makes the nose look more contoured. And now I am bronzing the cheekbones. So you basically, every cream product that you put on the face, you must set it with the powder. So now I'm going over her cream contour with the NARS and Laguna 4. I'm going back over all the areas that I applied that cream bronzer with the black opal. The high cheekbones, underneath the jaw lines, and the forehead. And I'm using this brush. It's going, you know, I obviously speed up the video, but I'm basically pressing it in. I'm not moving it, I'm not swiping, I'm just pushing down. Once I feel like I got a good pigment, I take that loose setting powder back to the one size in translucent, and I go underneath the jawline just to basically snatch it up. I never allow that line to sit very long. So then I go in with the pressed powder, and I use two different colors on her. I use the pressed powder Maybelline 330 Toffee, and I also use the MAC the MAC setting powder in NW44. And I go between the two and I just press in and lock everything in. I go in everywhere except underneath the eyes. Underneath the eyes, I want to go for a brighter color. So first, before I even press it with another color, I press in that translucent one size that I set. I just push it in just to make sure that it's in the face. And then I go in with my Charlotte Tilbury in the shade number 2, and I like to highlight. I highlight underneath the eyes. I brush off the baking on the nose with the Charlotte Tilbury, and I also go underneath the nose. I don't know if I said that already. So basically the eyes, underneath the nose, and the bridge of the nose. That's the only area I really want to be a more higher color or a lighter color. And here, I didn't want to go too crazy with the pink, but I did set that cream or that liquid blush, and I used a Juvia's Place in volume 4. And then I also spray multiple times on my clients. I just never record all of it or feel like I need to place it in there. But that was the Morphe setting spray that I used just to kind of set what I placed on her face already. And just get rid of that powdery look. So this I'm using underneath the eyes just to kind of make her eyes look whiter. I'm using the Urban Decay, and I think this is just white. And I basically underline her eye with this white color. And then underneath the white, I use the same brown transitional color. And I use just a flat brush, and I go underneath the white color with this transitional brown. And once I applied that brown, then I'll use the mascara underneath the eyelids. She already came in with individual lashes, and she did not want me to add anything extra to the eyelashes. So I only applied the mascara to the bottom lashes. Okay, I am now lining the lips with the matte color in Chestnut. I overlined her lips just a little to make her lips look a little bit bigger. And then I don't know what happened to my camera. It basically stopped recording. And then I just applied a liquid pink color, and I just put it in her inner area of her lips, and I had her press her lips together, and I blended it in with just a plain brush. I blended the pink color with the liner, and then I just covered it with the gloss. It was her birthday, so I also had to use the one size on till dawn just to make sure that this face stayed in place. But this is the final look. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.